Welcome everybody. It's week 8, the last week here of Coalition League's spring split. Thank you all for joining us through the seasons. And I'm Random Minion Caster alongside me for these third place matches here. I've got Spenlo. How are you doing, Spenlo?
I'm doing well. I can't wait to see some great games tonight, honestly.
For sure. And the third place match will be between 100 Weebs and Shadow Keepers tonight. Both teams done well for the season. 100 Weebs sitting at fourth for most of the season here and will be now trying to advance themselves in the last week. Shadow Keepers, a surprise dark horse. They sat mostly around the 7th place for most of the season, but somehow during the playoffs, broke into the top 4 here, taking out previous third place DOV Nightfall, and now we'll be facing 100 Weebs. And just looking at the lineup here, we do have a little bit of a change for both teams. On the blue side, 100 Weebs will be using E-Substitute schedules in the top lane, so they will lose 2 bans for that. On the side of Shadow Keepers, they will be changing up their jungler using Substitute Killer Lil Ninja instead of Kyle Timon, who they've used for most of their playoffs, so they won't be losing the 2 bans because Kyle Timon was an E-Sub for them, and their picks and bans have been completed here. On the blue side, they're going to ban out the Echo, Talia, and Maokai, targeting Elpels and Rinks a little bit. On the red side here, they're going to ban out Leona, Poppy, Twisted Fate, Set, and Misfortune. Now, in terms of picks, 100 Weeb's going to go with the Gragas, Rumble, Thresh, Renekton, and Kaisa. So no real surprises there. On Shadowkeeper side, they're going to go with Yasuo, Nautilus, Shen, Caitlyn, and Teemo here, so a little bit unorthodox on the side of Shadowkeeper. So Spenlo, what are your thoughts on the picks and bans so far?
I have a couple of questions, honestly. For the Yasuo and Teemo. I mean, I guess like in theory, like the Yasuo is a really good pick if you're looking to stop. I believe Rumble's ulti is able to be stopped, but there's not really much in the way except for Rumble and Gragas and some of Kaisa or most of Kaisa. Um, to stop with Yasuo, but I think like they really need to have a way to either disrupt or knock up so Yasuo can kind of get in there. On the side of 100 Weebs, I mean, they've kind of got that nice little pick comp with the Gragas, the Rumble, and the Thresh kind of being able to pick people, and Renekton and Kaisa just being able to just kill them instantly once they get onto them.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it looks like a lot of comfort picks on the side of 100 Weebs here. Kappa Crusader doing very well on his Gragas. Did get banned from him in some of the games before this, and Puffin's signature Rumble as well. So definitely, comfort picks for the jungle and mid. I expect to see a lot of control there. On the side of Shadow Keepers, though, that Teemo, Rinks' signature Teemo, we're going to see it again. And that makes me wonder, is that going to be Shen jungle then?
I mean, I would honestly say it has to be a Shen jungle. I think like I don't see Shen being played a lot as support. Nautilus would be the much better pick, but on the off chance that it's Nautilus in the jungle, Nautilus has some very interesting gank setups, but he's really strong once he hits 6. Shen jungle just kind of he power farms to 6, but he isn't solely locked down on that 6 being the enabler for him, so he could go into lanes early.
Yeah, and we'll have to see. Little Ninja did play Shen previously, but it was more in the top lane here. So we'll have to see if he lives up to his name, and see if he's able to play it in the jungle here. Now both teams have loaded up onto the Rift, so we'll just cut right over there as both teams are spawning here, and we've seen this Nautilus Thresh matchup for supports a lot this split into the bot lane, and given that we've seen it a lot, it seems to be a pretty even lane with the Caitlyn, with the Kaisa. Who do you think is going to win that bot lane trade there?
Well, it's really going to come down to how well the AD carries play. Nautilus and Thresh are really even when it comes to how their abilities kind of work with the hooks. Nautilus's Dredge line does have a little bit of the upper hand because it is more instant, whereas Thresh's Death Sentence does have a windup. However, it's kind of offshooted by the fact that if once anyone gets hard CC to buy them, Kaisa has those plasma stacks that she automatically gets that Thresh can apply to if he lands a hook and if he can flay onto someone.
Yeah.
Um,
So it
with
sounds like you're
not
saying Sharp Otter will be a bit more of a defensive support compared to the all-in engage from Nonstop Rain then.
Yeah, definitely. And then yeah, Nonstop Brain's gonna have to play nonstop aggression, just so that Louisville Giant can kind of get ahead. And if they can coordinate those routes with Nautilus and the traps from Caitlyn, that's gonna really give them that lane advantage. But they have to be able to do that.
For sure. So we will be watching out for Shadow Keepers being the proactive one in the bot lane here and trying to get some leads. And we've seen what happens when Caitlyn's get a hit. Their range advantage makes them extremely safe. And now we do see both junglers here going to be starting respectively on the bot sides of the map here. So we'll be able to get a very strong leash from their bot lanes. Both top laners showing early, and in top lane we're seeing the Teemo bully out the Renekton already a little bit.
Oh my gosh, that Renekton's already down to a quarter, almost a half health now, and that's just the power of Teemo's poison. I believe he started the poison dart first.
Yes, he did start his passive poison dart there, and with the range advantage, yeah, Schedule is not really able to gap close. Looks like he started his Q, so we'll have a bit sustained, but poor engage ability. And you know, does it at any point does Renekton start winning that matchup?
Once Renekton hits 3, he's gonna be able to kind of just dive on and stun him, and if he coordinates with the Gragas, he should be able to get at least 1 or 2 good kills after, especially after flashes burn. But
Ooh, a nice death sentence onto non-stop brain, but a good anchor toss onto the wall will get him out quickly there. Just taking a little bit of poke, but surprisingly, it's Sharp Otter getting aggressive early and making the first moves, it looks like.
yeah, it looks like, I mean, on the plus side, if you're Caitlyn, if you can freeze it right outside of your turret, you might be able to deny a lot of CS from the Kai'Sa, but you've got to be able to freeze it out there.
And as you called in the top lane, we do see Kappa Crusader looking for that gank. He's level 3. Schedules is also level 3 here, so they might be going on to Rinks. The slice and dice coming in. The stun comes out, but Rinks is so far under turret that he'll just take a poke. Instead, it's mid lane where First Blood goes down as Kill Little Ninja shows up. Doesn't get any kill credit. Alpal is going to get the solo kill onto Puffin there.
Oh my gosh, and I mean, it's just the pressure sometimes can cause that, just people to back up and not respect it.
Yeah, we do see a little bit of a trade in the top side river here between Kill Little Ninja and Kappa Crusader. Kill Little Ninja going to take a bit of poke there from Kappa, but will be able to remain safe. We'll just back off and give that scuttle over to the side of Kappa Crusader. And now that Alpels is getting a lead, we've seen what he can do once he starts getting a hit here. They already threw 2 bans at him, the Talia ban and the Echo ban, and he's still managing to do really well for himself as Yasuo. Kappa Crusader invading, looking to potentially pick up Kill Little Ninja, and Kill is really, really low. The flash body slam will get him the kill there. So they trade that back over. It's 1 kill apiece.
And he was playing a little bit of Jaws up there, kind of looking, sniffing the water for blood, trying to find out where he was.
Yeah, definitely had that sixth sense. Had that sixth sense there, looking for the invade on that side. He knew Kill Ninja was already low from the poke prior, so definitely just opting to just follow up and get the kill there. In top lane, we see the continued dominance from Schedule. Surprisingly, the range advantage from Rinks completely not able to compete now. He did go grass on the Undying, so he has some sustain. Very easy to proc on ranged champions there, but Schedule is doing really well for himself thus far. And in the mid lane now, we do see Puffin and Alpel still trading back and forth. Puffin actually doing pretty well for himself, but looks like he has to be careful because he was doing well for himself beforehand as well. And it does look like Spenlow, my co-caster, having a bit of technical difficulties. He will be back shortly, looks like, but till then I will still be here casting along. And we do see Kappa Crusader invading with the speed boost from that scuttle which he just picked up, looking once more for Killer Lil Ninja. And we do have to say that Shen jungle not really doing great for himself currently. There were some questions on whether or not that would be an effective jungler, and it seems that he is struggling to have healthy clears and not really able to get those ganks off because he's too low on health. So mostly the lanes right now really kind of static there. Kappa not going for those ganks quite yet. Mid lane again, Alpel is just getting aggressive onto Puffin. Doesn't care that Rumble is usually known to be a very, very strong laner against melees. Instead, just aggressively going in. Gonna use that last breath early, and top lane, Kirill Ninja goes down to the Krugs there. Very, very unfortunate. Shen's clear, very, very difficult, and that will slow him right down as well. Make sure that he won't have the ability to match Kappa Crusader's just jungling right now, and that means he will also hit 6 slower than Kappa, so we will not have the option there. And you've just got to question, if you're at the side of Shadow Keepers right now, whether or not that was the right decision to let Kill Lil Ninja go onto that Shen jungle. And right now, Alpal is getting pincered here by Puffin, and Kappa Crusader does manage to get the damage off onto Puffin and will be able to just dash out to a whole bunch of minions. Got close enough to the wave to make himself get out safely, and that's going to be Puffin's Ignite down. He did have the Equalizer, but opting not to use it just yet. Into top lanes, we do have Fury of the Sands coming down onto Ring. Schedules getting a lot of damage. About 60% of Rinks' health gone right down there, and we have to note that he doesn't have teleport, so he will be forced out. And with that good force out earlier in the jungle, Kill Ninja being forced out, and Alpels as well, that will give 100 Weebs their first Drake of the game. There will be an Inferno Drake for themselves, so increased damage and really good death sentence there will force Non-Stop Brain to flash out to keep himself alive. And it looks like in the bot lane, MG, Dilly, and Sharpod both controlling that wave really well in that bot lane. We'll have a bit of an advantage. We'll be able to slow stack that wave up now. And we do see here both teams looking like they've reset a little bit. Killer Lil Ninja needs to get back to the farming, needs to hit 6 as soon as he can. And Kappa continuing to just focus on that now. Non-Stop Brain just going to walk right up to Sharp Otter, but good play will keep him away there. Death Sentence landing once again onto Non-Stop Brain, but he's not going to take that hook and didn't have the Flay available. Did just use it to disengage, so did not want to follow up, but that's pressure and lane control is still going to give 100 Weebs a bit of an advantage in that bot lane. Good interrupt from Schedules in the top lane onto Rinks. Will not let him back. The Grasp of Dying will keep him safe, but he has to be careful from a dive from Schedules here. Schedules does not have Fury of the Sands available just yet, so we'll have to be careful. But he's going to end up drawing turret aggro potentially here, but will be able to pick up Rinks. No, the Ignite comes down onto Schedules, not onto Rinks. So Schedules going to be able to survive there, and Rinks just barely, fractions of health, will walk out. And it looks like Kill Ninja might potentially go. No, he's just going to go to his Krugs. They're going to let the wave push into that top turret there. So Schedules, good force off the flash out of Rinks there, will have that summoner spell advantage in the top lane. And this actually works out really well for Kill Lil Ninja as well. The Flash Taunt comes up, but Schedules is not undeterred. Instead, his Fury of the Sands is finally up, and he will be able to just turn it right around. Killer Lil Ninja gonna go down again. Very unfortunate for him, and instead in the jungle, Alpal's getting caught out. The Equalizer comes down. A beautiful cask there from Kappa will keep him in the Equalizer, and that's going to be a free kill for them going over the way of Puffin. So really good combination. Alpel's going down, and that might also give the Herald over to the side of 100 Weebs, as Kappa Crusader going to go straight for that Herald.
And it just looked kind of like a little bit of an overextension from Alpez, maybe thinking he was a little too confident trying to think he could get that kill off there.
Yeah, definitely, and that just cost them a lot. And just a quick take on the vision right now. Not a lot of vision down for the side of Shadowkeepers, just mainly defensively in their bottom side. And when we look at 100 Weebs, they don't have much vision past the river either right now. So just very defensive from both parties here. And it looks like Kappa will finally be able to take that Herald, taking him quite a bit of time as nobody's there to assist him. But that will be Herald over to 100 Weebs.
I mean, that's probably one of the most ideal conditions. You just know, like, you just got some decent kills over there. You could just go ahead and just take that Rift and not really get punished for it whatsoever. And
Schedule's getting really aggressive, flashing in. Doesn't have Fury of the Sands there. So just trying to get Rinks, and Kappa didn't have his cask available either. Did use it previously against Alpal. So I don't know if that's a little overzealous from Schedules there to burn his flash.
I think it was a little, I mean, he assumed that they would get the kill, but not realizing that maybe Gragas didn't have that cask up and ready to go. Looks like they're bringing 3 up. Maybe they're either going to guarantee this turret or guarantee a kill.
Definitely, they do drop the Herald as well into that top lane. They definitely want that turret, and they've managed to force Rinks off completely, but they do have to be aware mid lane Alpals will be getting some turret plates for himself, as there'll be nobody there to stop him. But 100 Weeb is going to get the first turret off the game.
And it looks like all they had to do was sacrifice 1 fleeting actually down in the mid lane, so that's honestly a really ideal position when you're there, because I mean that's 160 gold over to Alpals and about maybe a wave into him as well.
Yeah, so Alpels will be happy with that. I don't know about Rinks or the rest of his team, but certainly good for Alpels. And he is their win condition, has been for most of the split since he's joined their roster here. And if we take a quick look at the gold top lane, Schedule is making a huge lead for himself, about 3,400 gold. So he's about half of the gold advantage for his team here. In the jungle, we're seeing another large discrepancy, almost about 900, almost 1,000 gold difference in the jungle. In the mid lane's very, very even, only about 300 gold difference. And again, that comes down to Alpels getting that solo plate gold where Puffin had to share in the top lane, and in the bot lane about a 500 gold lead. So a lot of that gold difference concentrated in top lane right now.
Oh yeah, and I mean that if you're Renekton, you're really enjoying that because he can just kind of all in like he's trying to do right now, actually. But with Teemo taking Grasp of the Undying, it actually kind of helps sustain a little bit against those all-ins.
Yeah, for sure. Rinks, as long as he can back out of those trades and just extend the poke battle, he will win this. And we're seeing right now those shrooms, those nasty Teemo shrooms coming in real handy right now. Able to poke Schedules down, but Schedules does have his own form of sustain as well. Renekton has some in his kit, and the Conqueror. Now, the second dragon is the point of contest here for both teams. Kill Little Ninja going in early and aggressively. He's a jungler, but he's going to go down right away. Equalizer now coming across. Alpels and Nonstop sitting in it. The Flame Spitter will pick up the kills, and Sharp Order somehow surviving in the midst of it there. Will have to disengage quickly as the dragon burning him down, and only Louisville Gent left alive from that engage. That's 3-for-0 on 100 weaves, but Louisville going to see what he can find here. If he can poke it out, he himself is very, very healthy here, but will have to be careful. The Shen ultimate coming down will disengage instead in top lane. Schedule is coordinating with the rest of his team, looking to pick up another kill on the top lane, will be forced back out, and 100 weaves surprisingly will not be successful getting their second Drake of the game. Mountain Drake will live a little longer as Louisville manages to somehow force 4 people off that dragon alone.
Well, I mean, so at the start of that fight, honestly, 100 Weeps had the positional advantage, especially with the vision that they had. They knew that that was going to be their dragon, and I mean, Shadowkeepers, they had to go in blind, and yes, they lost 3 there, but they did, like you said, they dissuaded them from taking the dragon, especially with the Shen ulting back in to save the Caitlyn, because if he would not have done that, they would have killed Caitlyn and definitely gotten the dragon.
For sure. So they traded 3 to just slow the dragon progression down for now. If they don't take this, then it's going to be quite a hefty price to pay. And they are setting up in the area. They are standing there. They do have some vision around the pit. There is a pink in from 100 Weebs, so they can't get any vision in the pit, the actual pit itself, pardon me. But for now, it looks like 100 Weebs has just completely decided to back off of that and instead just look to continue laning.
Yeah, I mean, they can drag it out, and honestly, even if I was on the side of 100 Weaves, I would be okay with giving up this dragon as long as it's closer to when Rift Herald spawns. If you can trade, ideally, that one Mountain Drake for Rift Herald, I don't think you lose much.
Oh, and a beautiful death sentence onto Louisville Gent. He nets backwards in to MG Dilly. I'm not sure that's what he wanted to do, but the heal will be enough to keep him alive. The flash will get him out of danger as well. Ace in the hole coming down will be blocked by Nonstop Brain there, but they have to be careful. Puffin and Kappa Crusader did just pick up the Mountain Drake, and they're in the area, and Akratos to drag Puffin into turret range, but it won't be enough and sit the flash here, but his fancy feet, he's dodging everything. He's dodged the cast, he's dodged the death sentence, but will finally go down to MG Dilly's snipe, and now it's Puffin and Kappa who have to be careful. They're deep behind enemy lines. We'll take the blast cone to safety instead, and that's going to be a 1-for-0 as well as the dragon for 100 Weebs.
Oh my gosh, I have fancy footwork on the Nautilus. Such a big guy, but so light and nimble on his feet. Oh my.
Yeah, definitely huge to try and stall them long enough for Alpels and Killer Lil Ninja to show up as well. But unfortunately, he did ultimately go down at the end of that fight. But still, better he go down than the ADC goes down.
Oh, definitely. I mean, especially since the ADC didn't go down, that's going to be some nice solo experience. And like, you're gonna obviously sacrifice some minions and some gold, but I think like at the end of the day you can get a net positive trade out of it.
For sure. And now top lane Schedule is going in for that red buff, being a little greedy, waiting for a slice and dice. Will be able to get out in time, but the flash will not save him as the ignite from Alpels will reap his life there, and that's going to be another good kill. And I do believe it went over the way of Rinks actually, even though it was Alpels' ignite. It's going to be Rinks' poison that picks up that kill on to Schedules, and it's much needed for Rinks as he was struggling in the top lane. Is even in CS, but was down in lane pressure, is down in gold as well. And now Alpel is getting collapsed in by Puffin and Kappa Crusader. The equalizer and Casca not available. And it's going to be Puffin getting knocked up, the last breath coming down. But it's going to be Kappa left alone there as Puffin manages to flash to safety. He gets a really good turnaround. Will be able to take Killer Lil Ninja down. And Killer Lil Ninja now 0-5-0 this game. Definitely having problems. And they will not be able to revenge him as the teleport from schedules will dissuade them from extending this fight.
Yeah, and I mean, this looked really, really bad at first for 100 Weaves, but Kappa Crusader being able to turn it around, getting that trade, actually getting a kill without even having to trade anyone else's life, and just trusting his team was going to be there to back him up. It's such amazing team play.
Yeah, and with that teleport from schedules and the roam up from the bot lane of Dewey and Sharp Otter, they will take their second turret of the game, and that will be the mid lane turret. So we'll crack the map open a little bit. And it looks like they're going to send schedules down potentially to that bot lane as they try and pick up the second Herald, this time helped by that bot lane. So it should go a lot quicker.
Definitely, it should be going a lot quicker here. I mean, there's no way in which that Shadow Keepers can really contest it at that point. Like, you just got to kind of give it up. I mean, Killer Little Ninja is level 9, yes, but so far behind in items, only having his jungle item completed and just a null magic and Mercury treads, there's not really much you can do in the way of outputting damage against them.
Definitely, you had said prior that Chen does have gank opportunities. Pre-6, he's not reliant on that Stand United as a jungler, and yet Killer Lil Ninja just struggling, wasn't able to find that impact early, and now that Kappa on that Gragas is 6, he does have that, did have that barrel. We saw him use it immediately to great effect, and it looks like Lil Ninja just having problems finding relevancy in this game. Now both teams looking, the side of Shadowkeepers looking to that bot lane that is sent for to try and stop this push, as 100 Weeps looking to take the last outer turret here. Won't be able to successfully take it. Instead, Rinks in that top lane going to push the turret, but there are no more plates, so he has to take the whole turret or he won't get any experience. The cast from Kappa Crusader on himself to try and keep himself alive there will not hit anybody, but will be able to get out. Instead, it's going to be Dewey who stepped in a little too close. We'll have to out away on the Kaiser to try and disengage, but it will be good. We'll be able to survive. And 100 Weeps able to zone Shadowkeepers off their own blue buff.
And that was honestly like kind of interesting. I mean, the ult on top of Kappa Crusader made sure that even if the Shen tried to shadow dash onto him, there was no way that Shen would have been able to hit, especially with that ult going down.
Instead, the Shen is going to Stand United onto Rinks in that top lane there as they're going on to schedules. The Fury of the Sands being used here. So that is all the health he's got, ladies and gents. And now Schedule is turning it around, chasing after Lil Ninja and Rinks. Instead, that's a 1v2. The man knows no fear. Gets the stun off, and he's going to potentially get Lil Ninja. The equalizer coming down from downtown from Puffin will be able to pick up Lil Ninja once again. And mid lane, they're going to keep on pushing. They dropped Shell. He did get the inner turret as well for their fourth turret of the game. So 100 Weeps making plays all across the map here.
And I mean, the way it looks right now, I mean, I feel like this is a little early to say, but I mean, just the commanding presence they've got, this is really looks like gonna be 100 Weeps game to lose. Like, they're just playing so coordinated so well this time around, like, that I think there's not much that can be really done to stop them here at this point.
Yeah, 100 Weeps does have a very strong mid-game comp, and this is their time right now. We see the equalizer damage. The damage coming out of Gragas is it's a lot. They have the Oblivion or the Sork Shoe, so tons of penetration, whereas on the side of Shadowkeepers, not a ton of magic resistance yet being built up. Rinks has next to none there. He opted for the Ninja Tabbies to go against schedules. Lil Ninja does have the Spectral Cloak at least, but still struggling, and the Merc Treads, but schedules now getting run down, and Rinks looking for the solo kill. Will be able to pick it up with the Ignite and Poison. So Rinks doing work at the cost of his turret health. 100 Weeps going to switch right over to the Ocean Drake, pick that up for themselves, and they're suddenly at soul point at 20 minutes into the game.
And I mean, this is probably one of the faster souls that you can ask for right now, especially on the side of 100 Weeps. Getting that Ocean Soul means that, especially with Renekton, he's going to have a lot more survivability, being able to output a lot of damage really quickly to regain a lot of health.
Yeah, and it worked really well. Now it looks like Rinks actually might be almost is even completely with schedule. So all the gold advantage that schedules enjoyed is no longer there. The Teemo Renekton matchup, does it favor Teemo if the game goes late?
So that's really going to depend on how this Teemo plays, and it looks like right now they're going to be keeping him as a split push, which can actually work. he can respond to the Renekton, but with Renekton having Blade of the Ruin King, gives him a little bit more survivability. If they want to actually have him go kind of even with the Teemo, since he's got the Noxious Shrooms, he's got a lot of poison, a lot of DOT, that Renekton's gonna have to get some form of magic resist, or not just magic resist, but I would say even like an adaptive helm to kind of nullify the amount of damage that his poison's gonna do to him late.
For sure, and right now it looks like Rinks the bright shining spot for the Shadow Keepers right now. They've only got 3 kills, and 2 of them sitting pretty onto Rinks there. Alpels, who's usually their win condition, struggling a little bit this game against the combination of Kappa and Puffin, who have been constantly making sure that he is unable to make those plays, has been cutting off his roams in the jungle here. And Louisville Gent desperately trying to farm up, but he's behind in items. Only has the IE and Zerker's Greaves compared to Kai'Sa, who's got the Guinsoo's already and is already stacking that Manamune.
Oh my gosh, that Manamune is getting stacked. Once Kai'Sa hits, if they get that full item stacked, it's going to just mean so much more damage, especially with having the Rage Blade. That on hit is just going to be so monstrous, and she's going to be able to shred through a lot of people with that.
And it looks like they might have their eyes set on Baron here at 22 minutes, but they're going to clear that ward out, and that's going to give Shadow Keepers the knowledge that they're already on to that Baron as well. Lil Ninja is the same level, so we'll be able to smite fight evenly, but bot lane, a beautiful ambush from Schedules will pick Louisville up. They didn't have the vision, and Schedules was patient, sat in the bush and said, Alpal's now gonna go for the kill, and it's gonna be Rinks pick up the kill onto Kappa. Once again, able to steal it from Alpal's, and Alpal's gonna pay for the fight there with his life. Sitting on the equalizer. Schedules has finally shown up. The teleport is good. The movement speed will allow him to come in, and that's gonna be 2 more kills gone over to them. They will be able to pick Lil Ninja and Rinks up, and even though the jungler is down for both teams, 100 Weeps is 4 up to only Non-Stop Brain. The support here, who's going to have his hands full if he's even going to so much as try and attempt this Baron steal.
On the side, Non-Stop Brain, he should just give this up. I mean, give this up, go ahead and start pushing out those waves. If they can get some of those waves, at least even if not pushing out away from their turrets, it's going to help them in the long run, because that's going to give more time for them to kind of stabilize and kind of get maybe a little bit of even maybe a pick somewhere in the jungle.
For sure, but unfortunately, Non-Stop Brain did stop his brain for a moment and decided to just sit around watching that take. They did have a ward, which was not blocked by the pink ward here from the side of 100 Weebs, so they did watch it go down, and that will give Baron over to a 100 Weebs who's already very, very far in the lead, about 8,000 gold at 23 minutes, 13-4 the kill score, 3 Drakes up, 3 turrets up as well. If you're Shadow Keepers, Spenlo, what do you do right now?
I mean, honestly, the only thing you can do is try to get the picks on the people that have those shutdowns. So you're looking at trying to get a shutdown off top lane, the Rumble in the mid lane, and the Kai'Sa. But other than that, like, you're just going to have to turtle and kind of hope for the best, try to stall out, slow down the pace of the game so that way you can kind of even back out.
And as you said, look for a pick there, going for the highest bounty here onto Puffin. 500 gold bounty. The hourglass is used to try and delay the death, but it will not be enough. And it's going to be Alpels picking up that 500 gold bounty for himself in the bot lane action as well. The cast comes out, but Non-Stop Brain was stunned up, was not in range for it. The predictive play out-predicted himself, and unfortunately, they will not be able to get the kill. Shadowkeeper is going to be able to stall this bot lane push out a bit longer.
Yeah, they're going to be able to stall it up, but I think, like, especially if Non-Stop Brain backs here, there's no way in which Caitlyn can hold this on her own.
Definitely not, and Schedule is getting a quick burst of damage onto Non-Stop Brain through that shield. Will force Non-Stop to play even more carefully, or he might go down the next time Schedule decides to poke in. Still constantly throwing out anchor tosses. Non-Stop Brain playing with the aggression that you said he would need in lane, but this time out of lane and a little bit too late. Now Rinks has arrived to back Louisville up, but those are baroned up minions here that they have to try and take down, and the resistances that they have is really extreme. And now he's just going to dive Louisville Gent. Schedule's flashing in, but a good flash from Louisville Gent will keep him alive, but it's all a stall for the rest of his team to pick up the Ocean Soul here. Lil Ninja gonna stand united onto Rinks and move about 3 Teemos over. Will get there, and instead they're gonna try and walk right into Schedules, and the Slice and Dice will be good enough to get Rinks down. Gonna be Dilly picking a double kill up thus far, and they're gonna continue the chase now. Non-Stop Brain gonna be X1 to go down to Dilly's Tender Administrations. That's a triple kill there, and it's gonna be just Louisville and Alpels left alive. It looks like they're kind of just hanging back. They can't really stop this push, and that's burned up minions there. They do have siege minions as well. Louisville kind of low as well. Did not manage to go base. Will get sniped by Dewey for an unofficial quadra there. And this might be game as they've got burned up minions. They've taken down the inhibitor turrets in the bot lane, looking to pick up the one in the mid lane as well. They get the inhibitor on the bot lane, and they're going to play it a bit more slow. Go for that inhibitor in the mid lane as well, and that will allow Shadowkeepers to come back up. Everybody but Louisville up now for the side of Shadowkeepers. There's a 3-man knockup, but the last breath doesn't come across. Instead, they're going to go for Kappa under the turret, but they won't be able to get the damage down. Is Kappa just going to saunter his way out to safety there? But everybody up from Shadowkeepers, they will stop the advance of 100 Weaves for now.
Yep, and I mean, honestly, like, on the side of 100 Weaves, there's not much else you really need to do. All you need to do is just reset, kind of cash in all that gold you just got, and just push for the win. I think that there's not much on the side of Shadowkeeper can do really to stop you at this point.
No, definitely, and they now have 2 inhibitors down as well, so they will have to be careful of those lanes. Only the top lane turret standing, but that inner turret looks ready to fall at any second now. Only about 155 health, so extremely low, and 100 Weaves will be able to just siege up that top turret most likely and just pressure with the super minions in the other 2 lanes.
Yeah, I mean, even if they get that top lane turret down and actually get that inhibitor down, that just means that that base is going to get overwhelmed pretty quickly with double super minions in each wave. It'll be terrifying to see that happen.
For sure, but in the meantime, we do see Schedules opting to go appear in the bot lane. He does have his teleport available as well. Meanwhile, the rest of the team going to opt for that top lane. So it's a 4-1 split push is what they're going to go with here to try and apply pressure. And we've already seen what happens if you leave Louisville alone with Schedules. Schedules 4 levels up on Louisville here. The bot lane for Shadowkeepers is really far down, so we'll not be able to lane properly here. And there goes that top lane inner turret, which was extremely low. They're going to finally siege up into the inhibitor now.
Yeah, I mean, they have to send... They honestly need to send 4, if not all 5, to deal with this split push of 4. But if you do that, then you just concede the base to the Renekton.
Said it's going to be Rings getting hit by a Death Sentence. Equalizer comes down. The Cask was there as well. But they finally finish it off. Dewey's inside the base. Manages to pick up a double kill, and Alpal's gonna go down. That's a triple as well. And gonna be a quadra as Louisville goes down. Only Nonstop left alive, but Nonstop going down immediately as soon as I say that, but this time to schedule. So unfortunately, Dewey not able to pick up the Penta, but will be able to pick up the game here as Shadowkeeper is going to surrender. Their base is cracked wide open. They can't go any further, and the final score is going to be 22-6 in a 28-53 minute game.
Oh my gosh, that was a game that almost had an 11k gold lead. It had an 8k gold lead for probably about the last, 10-15 minutes of the game. It just could not stabilize off of that. The Shen just getting absolutely pushed out of the jungle in itself entirely.
Yeah, and you know, to be fair to Shadowkeepers, they did really well to try and hold on towards the end there, but it was definitely a losing fight as 100 Weeps just pushing in from all over. So for the side of Shadowkeepers, I mean, what are they going to change? Was this a compositional issue? Was this an execution issue? What do they need to do going into game 2 of this best of 3?
I honestly think it was a little bit of a compositional issue. I mean, honestly, I did not think that the Shen pick, especially in the jungle, I think Shen is going to be better in that top lane, especially just in general, being able to carry through that. If you're going to pick something like Shen, I think you need to hold the support pick off. Like, you can use that to kind of flex between top and support, but without that surprise factor with having the Nautilus and Shen locked in the same phase, there's not much they can really do.
Yeah, for sure. Probably trying to look like they were going to flex it top, but ultimately definitely did not work out for them. Lil Ninja going 0-9-2 here in this game. Almost half of his team's deaths alone there, only at 2 assists, so definitely did struggle to make an impact. And going into game 2, we'll have to see if Shadowkeepers can find some way to change things around here, maybe change up their draft completely. And with that, we will be headed to a short intermission break before we come back for game 2 of this best of 3 between 100 Weebs and Shadowkeepers.